Progress on my garage building down here. I would have had this trailer out of the way. I actually had quite a lot of wood and stuff. Some of it was shelves in that building. And I put it on that trailer, and I was thinking I would put it over here where I keep my trailers. And I went to hook up that blue trailer because I was going to move it, and I got stung in the face by a wasp. And it just like, dang. I don't know if you've ever been stung by a wasp. If you have, you know, it tends to change your motivation. And never been stung in the face before. I thought that could be problematic because I've heard about people getting stung in the face and dying from it and stuff like that. We have some, I used to put salt on wasp stings or cigarette tobacco, wet cigarette tobacco, back when people used to always be carrying cigarettes around. But a while back, Honey Baby showed me some Benadryl spray, which I had never used and wasn't really familiar with, but a wasp stung me on the arm, and I sprayed some of that Benadryl on there, and the pain went right away. So that was pretty amazing. And then today, when that one stung me in the face, I went up to the house and closed my eye and sprayed my face with Benadryl, and it didn't make the pain go away immediately the same way it did on my arm, but I mean, over time it did lessen and finally go completely away. So that's a good thing. So in here, I'm going to talk about insulation now. And first thing I'm going to do is go around and turn all the air conditioners on. I got all three of them working now. This is insulation that's left over from the insulation I put up there, and it's all different pieces that are gonna, if I'm gonna use them, I'm gonna need to fit them into some space. And I thought I might do like a space up there. Like I could take a lot of these little pieces and cut them to fit in all these places and fill in all that up there. So let's see, air conditioner. So, it would be nice if I had, I'm sorry, I'm learning how to use the air conditioner now, so, and it's not really too hot in here, but my thinking and my theory is if I get it going before it gets too hot. I had one piece that I taped together and it fell down. So I propped it up with a stick. I got to get up there and tape that back up. It's my little rig that I did at the last minute last night. So I've got enough insulation where if I'm lucky, I might be able to stretch it enough to fill in that piece. And I could put a little bit up in that piece. I was looking online last night for insulation options. And this type of insulation is really expensive. Now I bought this stuff cheap. Like I bought a whole truckload for $150, a big truckload. But I can't find it cheap anymore. Everywhere I look, it's very expensive. And I got to remembering when we had that house up in Maine, Honey Baby wanted the sewing room. And we had an L. An L is when someone builds onto a building at an angle. And when they do, they bring the roof out, and there's a space under the roof where one roof comes down and the other roof goes over that's not used. So we went up and we tore out the inner roof so that we opened that L up, and then I wound up spraying the inside of that with spray foam. And back then, to get spray foam, you had to get like two things that looked like propane tanks, and you had to run lines, and they had to come together and mix in a gun, and you had to wear a hazmat suit and a face mask and all of that stuff. And you know, once you started squirting it, I was always thinking more than likely you're done once you use it all up. So you really have to have it, you know, ready to squirt it all, because once you stop, it's going to harden up and the whole thing will turn into a block of stuff. Well, I was looking online last night and I found where they sell these little packs where you can get it's like a big spray of this kind of spray foam that they put around windows, except they literally make it to do walls and stuff for insulation. And it was about $150 for one. It said it would cover 240 feet. And I got my tape measure out and I tried to measure how many feet was in this part and that part. And I am like not a math guy, so you can't count on me to figure out anything correctly. But according to my calculations, I think if I bought one of those kits with those like a dozen spray bottles, and they have things to clean out the tips and clean out the gun and all that, I believe that'd be enough to do that. And that's the most important part that needs to be done, is the part up on top where the sun hits that roof. So that's my plan, and that's not going to get here for a while. But I'm gonna probably today spend the day cutting up and putting these little insulation pieces in place to try to fill up, you know, these areas up here. And then, and then after that, I'm not going to do anything until that other insulation gets here. Now let's talk about other stuff. Here sits the Studebaker, and yesterday the kit, the air compressor came. The electric air compressor that I talked about that Don is going to help me install, well, it came. So in order to get it ready, what I'm going to wind up doing is taking the heater out of this, which means I'm going to need to disconnect the heater lines, which are right here, and go up under the dash here and get that heater out of this area. Here's the heater switch, and the heater that me and Bill put in there is up in here. I don't know if you can see that in the dark, but it fills up this area right here. And what I want to do is take that heater out, and any wiring, and there is some wiring back in here, I want to make sure I get this so that new heater condenser will go up under the dash here. So, but I'm not going to do that until after Saturday, because we got a car show coming up, and I like to go to every year. And Don's bringing 3 54s to that car show, and I think it would be cool to go and ride in with him. It'd be him and probably Junior and somebody else driving some of the others. So I thought it'd be cool to take this car and meet him along the way, and let's all roll into that show together. So that's my plan. So I'm not going to do anything to the Studebaker that would make it undrivable. And I do have the option of driving either one. I mean, this car is ready to go. It has very little that can go wrong with it. It's kind of old faithful, just jump in it and go whenever you want to. So that's where we're at today. I'm behind on making videos because we haven't had any rain, and what I tend to do a lot of times is I'll shoot videos and then I'll stick them in the computer, but I'll keep working when I got good weather to do it in. And then if we have a rainy spell, which we have sometimes, then I'll sit at the computer and make videos while it's raining. Well, we hadn't had a rainy spell, so I hadn't done that, so I probably got quite a lot of videos that I could make when we get time. So that's where I'm at today. I'll start. I'll probably back the Studebaker out, and I think I'll start over there and do that end first. That's where the morning sun, and if you notice, you see the light shining right there. Morning sun comes in right there, and that's going to do more to heat the barn than anything else. And then the afternoon sun hits it from this angle, and of course with these doors, there's nothing much you can do as far as insulating the doors themselves, because they have to roll up. But if I put insulation up there and down the middle and on each side, that wouldn't hurt. So anyway, That was a lot of talk, but that's where we're at with all that. And I'll go get my cup of coffee and we'll get started. Okay, here we are after yesterday's work. I took all those little scrap pieces and I put them up there so that that end of the building above the insulation that I did the first day is also insulated. It's a little tiny piece above the fan, and I'm going to be spraying some insulation up there, so when I get up there I'll just spray across that. I'm going to spray insulate all of this all the way down the middle in that section right there, because I've run out, almost run out. I'll show you what I have left of that 3-inch insulation. I've got this much, and I've got one piece and one biggish piece that might go maybe just to the left or the right of the door up there. I might be able to fit a piece of that in. And then I've got 2 or 3 odd pieces on that table. So I'm thinking what I'll do is take the rat rod out, start with that big piece and see if I can pull up enough of that to do one side of this, and I might put some pieces down the middle, I don't know. But whatever I can't do, I'll finish up with spray foam. When I get to spray foam, I'll do this part up here. I got the compressor for the air conditioner for this car. We're having a car show tomorrow, day after tomorrow, so I'm not going to pull the heater and all out of it until after that. And then I'm going to be going inside the cowl here and pulling out the heater. Might be rearranging some wiring to make room for the condenser that's going to go in there.